I'm the principal facilitator here at Sydney Astrology School. So astrology for me goes back a long time. I got my first astrology book when I was 10, and if memory serves me correctly, I devoured it in about 2 or 3 days. But the interesting thing was that while I was reading, I felt I already knew this stuff. This wasn't new to me. And so as I began studying it later in life, it was very easy for me to study. It was very, very easy for me to pick up. So in my 20s, the New Age movement was starting to happen in a big way with Louise Hay and Wayne Dyer and Marianne Williamson and all these wonderful self-developmental speakers. And I was trying to, in my own way, bring astrology and self-development together. Because up until then there was a lot of books mainly around character traits and personalities and all that kind of stuff. So I came across a book from Stephen Forrest, wonderful evolutionary astrologer called Stephen Forrest, called The Inner Sky. It was his very first book. And for me that was quite a turning point in being able to bring a spiritual understanding into the kind of astrology that I already knew. So at 29, for people who are into astrology a little bit, they know it's a Saturn return time, I began doing my own charts. I began actually writing them up long before software, where we had to calculate. And I slowly but surely started to do charts for friends and family and friends of friends, and gradually grew and grew and grew more and more and more, and it pretty much just developed from there. So that's where it all began for me. It began very, very early. I'm passionate about astrology because for me it is the best tool that I know of that helps with self-empowerment and self-understanding. I mean, it gets us down to the core of who we truly are, what I call your true self, which is underneath all the insecurities and our control issues and our attachments, and underneath all that muck is this true person with amazing potential. So for me, I'm passionate about understanding the fact that we can actually find this true self through astrology. I find that incredible. Well, it helps people in lots of ways, but of course the main way it helps people, I think, is it gives people a why. Why they are the way they are, and why things happen in their lives. Like, for instance, why do I keep attracting the same man all the time? Or why do I keep self-sabotaging every time I get close to success? Or why am I constantly disempowering myself all the time? It gives you an understanding of why you do this. Once you understand why you're doing it, then you realise all of a sudden that the victim goes out the window. You are responsible because the chart is showing you exactly why you're going through this. And so it starts to empower you by letting you understand there is a way out of this. So it gives you clues about how to work with it. And of course, this is all about choice. I have to bring this into astrology in a big way because it's really, really important. Astrology won't make you do anything. We have been given the gift of choice, and it's up to us still to choose the way we're going to play our charts. So people come up to me with their chart and they go, oh, is this a good chart? This is my chart. Is this a good chart or a bad chart? Of course, there's no such thing. A good chart or a bad chart is going to be the way you play it. You know, are you going to make empowering, productive decisions that are going to take you into particular areas that are going to work for you? Or are you going to flush it down the toilet? It's your decision. And astrology is a tool, it's a map, a guideline, basically giving you an understanding of an idea that you had that's going to actually take you towards some form of fulfillment, but it's up to you whether or not you actually walk that path. Sydney Astrology School started very strangely because what happened was Jeff Marks, a good friend of mine, another astrologer, was taking a couple of people very, very casually. And suddenly it became 2, became 3, became 4, became 5. And then he contacted me and said, I think I've got a few students that you might be able to help teach me with. And so before we knew it, we were teaching a band of people that we thought we could turn this into something like a school. And so it really morphed itself. It kind of developed out of nowhere. It was meant to be, in other words. Sydney Astrology School was meant to be. We didn't plan it, it just happened. And that's the beauty of it, because both Jeff and I are both passionate about astrology, and of course our passion created Sydney Astrology School. Sydney Astrology School started in 2007, going into 2008, and back then it was basically around just sharing my passion with people who loved it as much as I did. That was exciting for me, to be able to talk about it, to be around people who were getting off on it like I got off on it. But later on I realised it became very much about helping people. It became very much about helping people understand their true potential and being able to bring astrology and live astrology in their lives in a very hands-on, applicable way. Astrology is not woo-woo stuff. Astrology is very much about here, being on the earth plane, being able to use it well on the earth plane. And so I find that a lot of students were actually doing that really, really well. And so for me, seeing the transformation from the students from the very beginning of the course to the very end of the course, and how they had changed their lives and them themselves had changed, was amazing for me to watch. And so for me, that's been sort of like introduced into my mission statement now. Not only just to share my passion, but to actually be a part of people's transformation as well. The school it's very, very casual. It's in a very casual environment. Everyone's very, very friendly. It's not intimidating at all. Like, you're not in a starched classroom where you feel like you have to sit up straight and put up your hand and all that kind of stuff. It feels like everybody are friends, and a lot of people in the course have made very, very good friends with each other, which I really, really love. And so for me, it's very important to keep it harmonious, to keep everyone in a balanced, harmonious, friendly atmosphere, to keep the school going the way I love it to go, which is primarily based on that formula. So the school itself, the teaching side of the school itself, I really focus on being able to read a chart, being able to integrate all the components so you can actually look at a chart and do a reading for a person. I find that many people, even with a little bit of astro knowledge from elsewhere, will know all their signs and all their planets and all their houses off by heart. Their theory is fantastic. But when I say to them, what does Mercury and Scorpio in the 5th house means? They start to balk. They don't know how to put them all together. Or what does the Sun square Neptune mean? It kind of throws them a little bit, because they know the components, they know the nuts and bolts, but being able to integrate it into a reading and make sense of it for another person is what it's all about. So that's my number one priority, is to get them to be able to do that and do it well. So it's over 4 levels. We have beginners level, start from scratch level, where we do teach the nuts and bolts, the planet signs and houses. Second level, we start to work on aspects, which is all the geometric relationship the planets have with each other, and we pull the chart together. So by the end of the second level, second 10 weeks, we have people who understand on a certain level the basic theory around being able to pull a natal chart together. Then on third level, we do transits, progressions, all the moving sky stuff that it's affecting at the moment. Level 4, we go into relationship work, asteroids, Lilith, midpoints. We start to bring in some other techniques, and we round it off like that. We also have an extra level called level 5, which is for our ongoing people. I call them my diehards, who've been hanging around Sydney Astrology School for a long, long time, and I truly, truly love these people, because not only are they fabulous astrologers, but they're wonderful people, and they're very, very loyal. So I have a level 5 for people who have completed the course, who just want to keep on going and keep on practicing, and I have a lot of those as well. So the course is for all different types of people. Many people think that when you talk about astrology, it's just going to be lots of kind of woo-woo kind of people who are out there in fairyland. But of course, astrology suits people in all ways, because it'll suit the people who just want to use it casually, just to understand themselves and their families and their friends, and that's fine. It suits the people who want to take it further and actually want to create a business out of it and become astrologers, professional astrologers, and I've got a handful of students that have done that already, which I'm very proud of, and they're doing really, really well. And it suits the left-brainers and the right-brainers. So it's going to suit the right-brainers as far as the interconnectedness with everything in the solar system in particular, because we are vibrationally connected to every single planet, and that's what astrology is based on, you know, the frequencies and the vibrations of everything. But it also is going to fit the more left brain types, who are very more analytical and much more systemized, because astrology is a system basically. It's based on mathematics, it's based on like sacred geometries, it's like a cosmic feng shui in a way, and so it's a system based very geometrically and very mathematically. So it suits the more left brain types, because they can understand it in a much more organised fashion as well. So as I was saying, there's no real particular type that it's going to be attracted to Sydney Astrology School. I was fascinated by the amount of business people, lawyers, doctors, just people in the more concrete world that I thought would not be attracted to this kind of stuff to start off with, but I found it is just as important to them as it is to other people. People are bringing it into their lives in all different ways for all different reasons. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be an astrologer. You don't have to be an astrologer. You can actually incorporate astrology in business and the way you use your business. So, you know, it's not always going to be the type you expect. In fact, as I said, I was blown away by the different types of people I was actually attracting, which was wonderful for me.